Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Greer Industries, improving people's lives for more than a century.
Meteorologist Joe Hansel here. Be weather aware of some rain and thunderstorm potential this afternoon, tonight, and for some of our southeastern areas, maybe tomorrow as well. We have an approaching cold front with heavy moisture to tap into, and the southeastern half of the state, we do have a marginal risk of excessive rain later today and tonight. That is for local flash flood potential. Generally includes the southeastern half of the state, does not include Charleston. There is also a risk of some severe thunderstorms too later today. Marginal to slight risk for isolated to scattered severe storms that are possible. Hail and damaging winds will be the primary threats. So we have an approaching cold front, maybe an embedded area of low pressure near and south of us with this frontal passage too. So that may help direct where some of the best chances for showers and storms will be. And some uncertainty tomorrow if southeastern half of the state gets the storms tomorrow or not, or if they initiate south of us. Regardless, I'll watch for another chance for some of our southeastern areas on Friday as well. Fly Super forecast, it starts at home. Highs, some 90s in here. Spots like D.C. again, Atlanta, Orlando, and Tampa Bay. And from Panhandle to Panhandle, be weather aware of a chance of showers and storms this afternoon and tonight. Highs low to mid 80s today. Eastern Panhandle heating up a little bit, mid 80s to near 90 for a lot of you, 70s to some 80s in the high elevation spots. Again, incoming cold front, be mindful of heavy and excessive rain, favoring the foothills, high elevations, eastern areas of the state, and to the south, Charleston, 86. If we're going to get our historically wettest month of August on record, we're going to have to get the rain today because we'll have our best chance today and tonight. We don't want the record. Regardless, be weather aware of some heavy rain and isolated severe storms. Then after tonight, we'll be dry and generally warm to hot later this weekend. 92 on Sunday, then the next chance of rain in the long term, middle of next week, around Tuesday night into Wednesday.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
From West Virginia's capital city, with news from across the state. This is Metro News Midday, presented by Salango Law, with 13 News and Tonight Live anchor Amanda Barron and Metro News' Dave Allen.
Welcome into the 2 o'clock hour. Metro News Midday, powered by Salango Law. Visit salangolaw.com. Dave Allen in the host chair. We'll get to Open Line West Virginia coming up at the bottom of the hour. Your calls and text. 1-800-765-TALK. Text 304-TALK-304. It's Metro News Midday.
Metro News Midday is presented by Salango Law. SalangoLaw.com. Join in by calling 800-765-8255 or text 304-TALK-304. Let's go live to downtown Charleston. Here's Dave Allen.
It is a Thursday afternoon, one step closer to the weekend. It is Metro News Midday, powered by Salango Law. Visit salangolaw.com. 1-800-765-8255. That's 1-800-765-TALK is the phone number. Text 304-TALK-304. As Amanda said, the text line is active today, and we'll get to all those coming up after 2:30. Welcome to the show now. Good friend of ours, Tom Susman, political consultant, commentator, sports guy, enemy to bees everywhere because he's been doing electrical work today, and he reeks of raid when he comes in the studio. How you doing, man?
Well, I'll tell you what, part of being a small operation of a radio station, and you know this from your days in Logan, you weren't in, y'all didn't have the palatial studios you have now. Everybody does a little bit of everything, and I'm kind of the engineer when the power goes out, and I had to run up to Clarksburg, and you just don't know what you're going to find when you get to these tower sites.
Yeah.
Snakes, bees, ticks, whatever. So
copper thieves.
Well,
that was a big problem.
Yeah, that would have been I wouldn't be here right now.
That's a big problem that we have.
I think we had some squirrels in the power line, and that became a problem. So.
Squirrels in the power line. It's the name of my band in college.
It wasn't okay.
Squirrels in the power line. I'll tell you one quick radio story, and we'll move on. One of my things as the morning guy at the radio station in Logan for 20 years, you have to sweep out the satellite dishes, and people don't think about that.
Oh, that's in the snow? Oh,
Our satellite dishes were on top of the building, much like they are here. And so the WVW studios are on the second floor. Someone had to go up to the third floor, all right, go through a little little small door that you practically had to crawl into and walk out onto the roof, which was, by the way, next to the funeral home.
Well,
so I always
that's
said,
convenient.
if
That's
you
convenient.
fall off, you just like wheel me
Yeah.
next door. And there's many, as much as I loved my time there, many times on that roof at 4:30 in the morning, shoveling snow out of a satellite dish, thinking, is this what Rush Limbaugh did? Is this what, Casey Kasem did, Larry King? Is this what they did?
Well, and ours, thank goodness, is on the ground. But every time you do that with the broom, you're afraid you're going to mess that little thing up that actually catches the and then then you're going to be sitting there like singing for 2 hours.
I got 7 hours till we get this taken care of. All right, so and we've talked about it ad nauseum on the show today with a couple different segments, but I do want to get your take on it. This whole thing between Senator Jim Justice and Governor Patrick Morrisey. But it all started with the Greenbrier and so on and so forth, and we've all seen the memes. I may have been guilty of sharing a couple. Did not create them. I'm not that smart. But your take on this whole thing.
Well, I think there's a couple levels that are going. I think, Conrad Lucas always talks about the political class. And I think the political class is like stirring this fight between Morrisey and Justice for reelection. And so that's got it going. You have the Greenbrier thing that's going on. And, Justice has worked hard to try and save the Greenbrier, but I'm sure this is a little embarrassing. And then the governor comes out with phrases like, well, now it'll be under good leadership or whatever. And that's a real dig. And so there's a lot of elements. And then so people are trying to figure out, well, will Justice come back to be governor?
Do you think he will?
Well, I think you have to look at different levels. When you look at positions, it says, oh, wow, that'd be great. You're one of one. Well, yeah, you're one of one when there's a flood and you have to get up and call the National Guard out. You're one of one when there's a death at one of the regional jails and you get blamed. You're one of one when you screw up the clothing vouchers and 57,000 people get mad at you. So when you're governor, there's a lot that goes with it more than just the mansion and whatnot. Then flip to the U.S. Senate, most exclusive club in the world. You got staff. You don't have to deal initially with some of these crises. You have world leaders coming to you asking for your vote, your support. You have Fortune 500 companies coming to you. Most senators work Tuesday to Thursday. Not a bad gig, to be honest with you. Not a really bad gig.
And I think a lot of that depends. Jeff and I and Amanda, we talked about this during the open of the show, Tom, is that, there are a lot of people in Washington that you never hear about.
Right.
And because they're there, they vote. It's the same possibly for the legislature as well. There's probably some that you never hear anything from. They show up, they do their job. They're not very boisterous, whatever, until they rise to a certain level, as a Robert Byrd did, and then as a Joe Manchin did, and so on and so forth. And I think there's part, I'm going to play amateur psychologist here, and I don't mean this in a bad way. I said this earlier this morning. I think there's a part of Jim Justice that really enjoys being the big man on campus. No pun intended. But
Right.
I mean literally he enjoys that.
Well, he's an athlete. He's the coach.
Yes.
He wants to be that guy.
Yeah.
But again, he's got a lot of businesses he has to take care of. You only work Tuesday to Thursday. I mean, there's other stuff they do. Don't get me wrong.
Sure,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't get the, you talk about Byrd and you talk about the folks that have progressed, Manchin. But look at Senator Capito. She's progressed. And she's number 4 in leadership, and so that comes. But if Senator Justice were to announce at the business summit, like some people are saying, well, then
Which is next week.
Well, then that reduces his ability to get things done in the Senate because they're going to say, well, he's not focused here,
Right. Yeah.
and then all of a sudden he's in a campaign, and then all of a sudden the negative ads start. So I think I think he'll give it a good thought. The fight's interesting. I mean, it's like I've never seen a food fight like this.
And I will say who is really looking forward to if it happens, a Justice v. Morrisey race for the governorship. It's people in our business.
Oh yeah, you want to have to prepare for today. It's like, all right, what are we going to talk about?
It's kind of like in high school when you want two people to fight and you're going up to them. Hey, did you hear what he said about you? Did you hear what she said about you? And then it's fight, and then we watch money falling from the sky. That's the plan.
Well, I think there's a couple things going. I think that Patrick, he might like being governor, but he's always seemed like he wants to get to Washington.
I get that.
He worked in the U.S. Senate. I think he wants to get to Washington. I think, however, Denise, I think she's really getting into being first lady. I mean, she's got she got an energy about her. Maybe she needs to put down the Facebook and stop responding to people. But there's an energy out there that she's showing. So I don't know. It's going to be kind of.
I said this earlier this morning with all due respect, and I don't care who the politician is. I don't think it is a very becoming look of a political person or a first lady or whomever it is. It's one thing to engage with your people, but I could this is me. This is Dave the voter, not Dave the broadcaster. I could do without our political people engaging people on social media.
And the reality is Donald Trump can do that, and somehow he gets away with it.
Well,
but when people start mimicking him and they don't have the kind of the base or the kind of the charisma, if you can call it charisma, I think they sometimes just look silly.
Yeah, that's possible. It is. And you mentioned Trump. I was reading an article the other day about one of the people that is believed to be Donald Trump's right-hand person. It's a lady that works in his administration, and she's a young lady, and she actually has access to his Truth Social, and she actually does some of the posting for him on Truth Social. Maybe he'll go in and clean up or whatever, but I guess locally you just don't have something like that, right?
I don't know who's posting for the governor. It looks like there's different tones. Sometimes it's a very diplomatic tone, and sometimes I don't know who's doing some of the posts with Justice just recently. It just didn't sound like Patrick. I don't know who was doing it, but
no, you don't. You never know. One thing though that I think is really interesting is, and we talked to Mark Blankenship during the 12 o'clock hour about this, about. I'm gonna throw out a name here, and that is the state Republican Party chair Josh Holstein, who I've known him since he was in high school. He's a good young guy with a very bright future ahead of him, whether it's because he's a member of the House of Delegates or whether he continues in party leadership, on the national level. I don't know what he's going to do. But it can't be very easy to be him right now, trying to keep everybody in line and trying to keep we had a very, very nasty primary. You and I talked about it, right. And I don't think a lot of matter of fact, I know most of those fences have not been mended.
No, they haven't.
And I'm not sure if they ever will be. But as a party chair, it's your job to go and go, okay, let's as they said in church growing up, fellowship one with the other, and let's just kind of move on. If this happens, if it continues to be a thing, between Morrissey and Justice, it's going to put Josh Holstein or whoever the chair is in a kind of awkward position. Not saying he can't handle it, but he's got a lot of stuff to take care of there.
Yeah, and I think what you end up then is a factional fight that splits the party, and that does become very difficult for the party chair. I'd have to say Josh has done a really good job of trying to be above that.
I think so.
Doing things to raise money.
Job.
He really hadn't. I mean, let's be straight. When he was first selected, I think with Senator Justice, who endorsed him, one of the first ones to endorse him. But I'd say Josh has done a really good job of trying to balance it and work for the party. But the problem, the number one problem, and I think all the incumbents have, and if you go back and read it, this is an anti-incumbent year. I don't care whether you're Democrats or Republicans. There's a lot of incumbents across this country that are losing. And they're losing because of gas prices. They're losing because of the war in Iran. They're losing because people feel like they're disconnected. So in the Democratic Party, the conservatives are losing to the socialists. In the Republican Party, they seem to be losing to the more moderate Republicans. I don't know how this thing shakes out, but I think that there will be some surprises in this election in this state that people haven't even considered being a problem.
Talk about the Democrats in the state of West Virginia, right? We spend so much time talking about Republicans because they are the super-duper majority. But let's talk about the Democrats. I gave the state Democratic Party chair, Mike Pushkin, credit earlier when talking to Mark Blankenship. I said, look, it's an unenviable task to be the state Democratic Party chair right now. His main goal was to try to get bodies to want to run. He's done that, and a lot of people like Greg Thomas that have had on this show in the past, have said, look, he thinks the Democrats are going to pick up some seats in West Virginia. Now, it ain't going to be a revolution or anything like that. Let's do baby steps here. Republicans didn't take it overnight, and I don't think the Democrats are going to retake it or whatever. But there have been some decent candidates that are running, and they're going to knock off a few Republicans. Most people think.
Oh, I think there are, and I think that you may get to where there's 21 or 22 Democrats, which in the House, which shuts down the constitutional rule type votes. I don't think you get to 33 or 35 that gets you into the rule suspension areas, which you need. So to explain that is to suspend the constitutional rule when a bill has to be read on 3 separate days. You need 80% to vote for that. And if you have a supermajority, you can get it. And if you want to suspend certain rules, you need 2/3 of the body to do that. And if the Democrats had 35 or 34, then they couldn't get to that level. So I don't think you get to that one, but I think you can get to the constitutional rule. So yeah, I think there's going to be some Democrats come in.
I think some of the races are going to be very interesting to watch. And I was talking to one political candidate who shall remain nameless recently, but he's a Democrat, a longtime friend of mine, and he's running for a race in West Virginia. I'll just leave it at that. And he and I were having a discussion a couple days ago, and I said, if you want my advice, you didn't ask for it, but one of the biggest problems that you're going to have is that as a Democrat, your opponent in this election is going to tie you to AOC. They're going to tie, even though you've never been in the same room or in the same conversation with, because that's all politics is national now. And I said, so if you're going door to door, you're going to get hit with that at some point, or there's going to be a mailer, a vote for, I'll use you as an example, a vote for Tom Susman, Democrat, is a vote for AOC. It is a vote for Mandami, or whatever the case may be, anybody. And it's not going to be more moderate like it would have been in the past.
Well, yeah, that is going to happen. And then in turn, the Democrats can turn around to the Republicans and say, look, you're the people that raised the gas tax. You raised the gallon of gas to $4, diesel to $5, the war in Iran. So, I mean, everybody gets tagged with different things, but there's some races, like, for example, in the Eastern Panhandle, I think the delegate's name is Anders, who is a far-right conservative, head of the Liberty Caucus. He's got a young lady, I think her name's Valentine, who's really running a strong race against him. What I'm hearing is some of the moderate Republican funders that would normally be in a Republican race are just kind of sitting this one out because he's so far to the right that he's almost anti-business, is the perception. And so I think you're going to see some of this happen out there, where there are people who are normally Republicans that would enjoy certain supports from certain groups because of their position on some of the issues and some of the anti-business votes and there's a war between the conservative Republicans and the Chamber of Commerce in this state from time to time. So I think it's going to be real interesting to see how that plays out.
I would agree about that. And again, we saw it in the primary. We saw that, and you mentioned Chamber of Commerce. I'll throw them out there just for a moment, because some of the more far right Republicans have come out against. We're not part of the Chamber of Commerce because the Chamber of Commerce wants this, and we don't want to be associated with that. I mean, there's been a lot of that.
I mean, that kind of the club for growth type mentality, the Americans for Prosperity. That's a completely different group than what you'd have as far as your West Virginia Chamber of Commerce and your traditional business folks. So that is an issue. And then the other issue the Republicans have, and why I don't buy that it's only 6% favorability for Trump in West Virginia, I think it's much greater, but it's not what it used to be. And so the question then becomes is there a sense of apathy for Republican voters, and do they stay home? And then do the Democrats feel emboldened, and then do they turn out? And that can make a big difference.
And do you think, what about the role of independents? Hoppe wrote about that in his commentary today. The role of independents, they were told by the Republican Party, not the entire party, but they had the votes there that we don't want you in our primary. And when it comes to the general, are any of them still going to be a little bit upset about that? Or are they just going to stay home, as you said?
Well, no, I think the independents are going to come out. I think they're going to vote about gas prices. I think they're going to vote about the war in Iran. I think they're going to vote about jobs. I think they're going to vote about, some of the data center stuff. So, yeah, I think the independents vote. As far as remembering that the Republicans told them they couldn't vote in their primary, that's just an inside political discussion. I mean, I haven't talked to an independent today says, I'm just not voting for that Republican because they locked me out. Now, they may have done on primary election day when they were frustrated. But I think it's going to be more about the issues. And, the fact is the non-affiliated are probably, they're a large political party in the state kind of by default.
Well, and again, there's been so many people that have gone that direction, because I sense that there are, and we got to start to wrap it up here, but I have a sense that there are a lot of people, maybe not so much in West Virginia. This is still solidly a red state, solidly a Trump state.
Absolutely.
But I think there are a lot of people across America that are looking at the left, and they're seeing it go further and further left. There's a lot of people that are looking at the right and seeing it going further right, and they're kind of in the middle, here, almost like, in the middle of a traffic stop here, going, what's going on here? I think a lot of those folks, there's a great number of people that just don't identify with either one, because both, in a lot of people's eyes, both parties, Tom, have gone freaking crazy.
I have to agree with that. And as a guy who's a pragmatic, middle of the road kind of fella, I just want to be able to have public policy discussions. But you're right. I feel like the guy that's standing in the middle line and there's going to get run over by the tractor trailer and the coal truck.
Well, be careful of those wasps out there, okay?
Absolutely, we'll do.
All right, Tom Susman, it's always a pleasure to have you in the show, because
Thanks, sir.
Tom brings back, a very interesting perspective, because he, did a lot of things in the lobbying world, but he's also a member of the legislature and, a broadcaster and a little bit of everything. So,
Thanks, sir.
Not really good at anything.
No,
but
I'm not. I'm horrible at most
of it. A little bit
of
of everything.
Exactly.
So, all right. It's 2:24. We'll take a break and come back after this.
We'll be right back. This is Metro News Midday. Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Football season begins right here on Metro News Television. Join us Thursday, August 27th for the 2026 WVSSAC kickoff game. Presented by the Army National Guard. The Cameron Dragons battle the Clay Battelle Seabees live from Blacksville. Don't miss the first kickoff of the new season, the 2026 WVSSAC kickoff game. Thursday, August 27th at 7 p.m. Pre-game coverage starts at 6:30 p.m. Powered by GoMart. Only on Metro News Television.
On the next State of Minds.
I was in liver failure, and I was told I needed to quit drinking or I was going to die, and that was at 36. When he invited me to church, all the hair on my arms, my chest, my back, it all stood up. You're taught to love, you're taught to forgive, and there's a reason for that. It lets you be healthy and lets you move forward with a vision for your life that's not defined by what happened to you.
At Daniel's Men's Store, exceptional style begins with a curated selection and finishes with a flawless fit. When it's time to buy a suit, Daniel's is here to make sure yours is one of a kind. Discover tailored suits you'll only find in store at Daniel's.
It's our 23rd anniversary, and to celebrate, we're having a huge anniversary sale all month long on all Toyota trucks and pre-owned vehicles. We've discounted over 100 pre-owned vehicles this month, most of which are local one-owner trades. Great deals on all our Toyota trucks, and with over 90 in stock, now is the time to get yours. From our family to yours, we want to thank you for all the support over 23 years. Dan Cava, Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
I think many people have a misconception that all that we do is infertility care, and that's not the case. Reproductive health matters whether or not you're trying to conceive. So we can be dealing with endometriosis, ovulation dysfunction, PCOS. You're getting linked up with all the specialties that you need to optimize your care. And being an advocate for your reproductive health is important. The most rewarding times that I have is when I'm empowering people to take control of their health.
Okay, so we're going to do public math. So he won 9 his second year at West Virginia, 5 his second year at Michigan, 8 his second year at Arizona, second year at Jack State, he won 9, so it's 31 divided by 4.
Yeah, just under 8 per win or per season.
So there you go, Hunter. You can just forget about everything else and just mark it down.
Put Tony and I down for 8, Coach Hunter. Put us on the prediction show for 8. We already got it.
Sportsline on Metro News Television.
Download Metro News Television on your iPhone or Android. Search Metro News Television in your app store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now.
Touchdown!
Welcome back to the show. 228 Metro News Midday, heard all over the great state of West Virginia. Great radio stations like WSLW in White Sulphur Springs, WKKX and WVLY in Wheeling, WEPM Martinsburg, WAJR in Morgantown, WKLP in Kaiser, WVW Logan, WKMZ Clarksburg, WD&E in Elkins, WJLS in Beckley, and our flagship here in Charleston, WCHS. Do want to remind you, high school football gets underway around the great state of West Virginia tonight. Of course, we kicked it off, no pun intended, last night with the high school sports line, but there are several games on tap tonight, including our Metro News Kickoff Classic. Download the Metro News television app, and you can take in Cameron and Clay Battelle. It's going to be a fantastic contest. And again, there are several big games on the schedule. The bulk of those will be tomorrow night. And then we do want to remind you that after high school football, after your local game tomorrow night, make sure to stick around for their 25th year. Fred Persinger and Dave Jecklin with High School Game Night. And, those guys have only missed a couple of shows in 25 years. Fred missed one, I think, in the 25 years, and Jecklin missed two. Not a bad track record for those guys. So, and again, on Saturday morning, in case you go to bed a little bit early like I do, 6:30 Saturday morning. Many of these same Metro News stations don't have the recap show there as well. We'll get into Open Line West Virginia coming up in just a bit. You're listening to Metro News Midday. Back after this.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Greer Industries, improving people's lives for more than a century.
Meteorologist Joe Hansel here. Be weather aware of some rain and thunderstorm potential this afternoon, tonight, and for some of our southeastern areas, maybe tomorrow as well. We have an approaching cold front with heavy moisture to tap into, and the southeastern half of the state, we do have a marginal risk of excessive rain later today and tonight. That is for local flash flood potential, generally includes the southeastern half of the state, does not include Charleston. There is also a risk of some severe thunderstorms, too, later today. Marginal to slight risk for isolated to scattered severe storms that are possible. Hail and damaging winds will be the primary threat. So we have an approaching cold front, maybe an embedded area of low pressure near and south of us with this frontal passage, too. So that may help direct where some of the best chances for showers and storms will be. And some uncertainty tomorrow if the southeastern half of the state gets the storms tomorrow or not, or if they initiate south of us. Regardless, I'll watch for another chance for some of our southeastern areas on Friday as well. Fly Super forecast, it starts at home. Highs, some 90s in here. Spots like D.C. again, Atlanta, Orlando, and Tampa Bay. And from Panhandle to Panhandle, be weather aware of a chance of showers and storms this afternoon and tonight. Highs low to mid 80s today. Eastern Panhandle heating up a little bit, mid 80s to near 90 for a lot of you, 70s to some 80s in the high elevation spots. Again, incoming cold front, be mindful of heavy and excessive rain, favoring the foothills, high elevations, eastern areas of the state, and to the South Charleston, 86. If we're going to get our historically wettest month of August on record, we're going to have to get the rain today because we'll have our best chance today and tonight. We don't want the record. Regardless, be weather aware of some heavy rain and isolated severe storms. Then after tonight, we'll be dry and generally warm to hot later this weekend. 92 on Sunday, then the next chance of rain in the long term, middle of next week, around Tuesday night into Wednesday.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
When you hired me, you were 29. You seemed like you were 50 when you were 29. You were running that thing like a 50-year-old man. All right, we got to go get some tape. Come on, get out of there.
I think I've sort of always been 50, and I think I'm 50 now.
Yeah, me too.
That's
me too.
a great point. Join Tony Caridi, Brad Howe, and Hoppy Kercheval for Three Guys Before the Game. Metro News Television. Available on mobile, Roku, Fire TV, smart TVs, and online at WVMetroNewsTV.com. You want to know what West Virginia is talking about?
It's good to be back in Morgantown today.
Now it's different.
I think it's mostly just business.
What I voted for and what I think makes the most sense.
Well, Dave, this has been a bit of a controversy.
I want to thank the caller last week that said I sounded like Hoppy Kercheval. That was flattering.
Join Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows Monday through Friday for Talk Line on Metro News Television.
Learn more at yougotthis.usaging.org.
This is Metro News Midday, presented by Salango Law. SalangoLaw.com.
Welcome back to the show. 26 away from 3 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon. Metro News Midday, powered by Salango Law. Visit SalangoLaw.com. Stephanie Pauly, Ryan Nicholson, our producers today. Open line West Virginia, 1-800-765-TALK. Text 304-TALK 304. Big event going on here in Charleston tonight. It is the annual Paint the Capital City Green with Marshall University and the Big Green. Just letting you know about it. I'm going to be serving as the MC of that event, and if you're a Marshall fan, it's the place to be. However, you better have gotten your tickets because it is completely sold out. They do it in the Bill No Flight School, which is just up on the hill of Greenbrier Street, just before you get to West Virginia International Yeager Airport. Great setting for that. Yeah, and it's a great celebration of Marshall, and I am sure hoping that you got your tickets, though, because, as I said, the event is completely sold out. So be about 300 to 500 of the Herd faithful up there tonight, as there normally are. Head coach Tony Gibson's going to be there. That's the football coach, of course. Basketball coach Corny Jackson, women's basketball coach Julie Fulks, several others. Athletic director Gerald Hairston will be there. Live auction, voice of the Thunder Herd Steve Cotton will be there, and I'll be serving as your MC in that auction. It'll be myself and Metro News meteorologist Brian Hughes handling the auction part of it. So looking forward to it. Hoping to see a lot of you folks up there. And I'm excited as I could be about football season. High school football getting underway for real tonight. Slate of games tonight. More, of course, the bulk of them tomorrow night, Saturday. And then next week we'll start talking WVU and Marshall. MEC gets underway tonight. It is the most wonderful time of the year if you are a football fan, as I am. 25 minutes away from 3. Let's get to some text here. Your phone calls are always welcome, too. 1-800-765-TALK. That's the phone number. Text 304-TALK 304. Text says, on the school clothing voucher issue, sorry, but it's not the government or the taxpayers' responsibility to provide clothes for school kids. How about some personal accountability, says a texter. Text, Hoppy is a one-horse commentator. Trump has done more than any other president in history at a breakneck pace. If you would be bipartisan and put what he's done on one side of a ledger and what you say he has accomplished, you would know he's going to go down as one of the best presidents ever. When you retire, it was meant, but you can't because you crave the limelight. Go enjoy your family. Oh, can't be mean to Hoppy now. Come on, he's the D. Come enjoy, go enjoy your family while you still can. You're not that relevant state of West. He's 100% relevant and always will be in the state of West Virginia. And see, he's not my boss, so I don't have to say that. I'm just saying it. Let me see here. Text, bring all the data centers you want to Putnam County. We want them here. All the noise is being made by the haters. Bring it on, says the texter. Text says, Dolly Parton was an institution, Dave. I'm still not over it yet. Yeah. Text, it's simple. Let Justice run and win for governor. Then he could appoint Morrissey to his vacant seat in the Senate. No problem. Then we get to keep the two top dysfunctional politicians in high office. And no one will need to spend millions on elections. Our own personal West Virginia trumps for years to come, says a texter. On the lowering of the flags you talked about yesterday, text says, we lowered the flags for a fascist like Charlie Kirk. Why not someone who actually did some good like Dolly? We talked about that a little bit on the show yesterday. There was some discussion about the fact that the flags were lowered for Dolly Parton. And look, I am no bigger supporter, fan in the world than when it comes to Dolly Parton. I loved her, thought she was an institution. But I don't know, honestly, and you can take issue with me if you want, people have. I don't know about this constant lowering flags for people, regardless of all the good things that they've done. I think the more that you do, I think it cheapens it, and that's just my opinion. You may differ. What Dolly gave to this nation cannot be, cannot accurately even be described, even things that we'll never even know about. And anybody that's ever encountered her talked about what a wonderful person that she was. If you remember, 2 days ago, I had a gentleman who had the pleasure of being her limo driver when she came to Charleston back in 2022, and he said you could not meet a more genuine person, not stuck up as you might think in the least. All that's wonderful. I think it's incredible. However, there's something about, with all due respect to her and all the wonderful things she did, there's something that just does not set well with me when it comes to this, entertainers and, lowering the flags for them. But that's just me. Text says, Dave, anytime I wonder if I made the right decision to leave West Virginia, all I have to do is listen to your text or read the comments on any of the news stations there. I know I made the right decision to leave West Virginia over 20 years ago. Love my home state. Still keep up with what's going on thanks to you guys and my local paper. But the state itself is so behind. That's a text. Well, I hate to hear that. And I would like to know more on why it is that you feel that way. If you want to, further comment, feel free to. You can text me. 304-TALK-304 or call 1-800-765-TALK. Text said, President Obama ended the county of origin labeling. Always thought it was bad that I think they mean country of origin. Or maybe they mean county and country. Text said the gentleman that Stephen Baldwin was referring to served on the USS West Virginia. Simple text here. No flock cameras ever, says the texter. Text says, who did Canada ever make mad? You're trying hard, Trump. Be more like Liam, says the texter. Oh, poor Liam. It's 20 minutes away from 3 o'clock. Text, Trump's popularity is directly correlated to someone's lack of intelligence. The more popular amongst the people, the less intelligent the people are. Text says, can't wait to eat some of that horse beef that Trump is importing from Argentina. We give them $40 billion to prop up their economy, and they send us uninspected horse beef as a favor. That's why he's president. Art of the deal, folks. 1-800-765-TALK, text 304-TALK-304. It is Metro News Midday, powered by Salango Law. Visit salangolaw.com. We'll take a break and come back after this.
We'll be right back. This is Metro News Midday. Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
This week on the Metro News Television Game of the Week, powered by GoMart, the Grafton Bearcats travel to Philip Barber for the Week 1 matchup. Join us Friday, August 28th at 7 p.m. for complete live coverage from George Breyer Field. Watch live on Metro News Television, YouTube, and Facebook. Bearcats versus Colts. Friday, August 28th at 7 p.m. The Metro News Television Game of the Week, powered by GoMart.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong.
The best selection of WVU apparel is at Daniel's Men's Store. Exclusive designs you won't find anywhere else. Stylish, sophisticated, and unmistakably mountaineer. Shop in store or online at danielsofmorgantown.com.
It's our 23rd anniversary, and to celebrate, we're having a huge anniversary sale all month long on all Toyota trucks and pre-owned vehicles. Thank you for 23 years, Dan Cava, Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
A lot of patients come here without much hope, and I think we can give them hope.
We offer a full spectrum of interventions suitable for every kind of person that walks through our door. We do absolutely everything we can to help you achieve your family building goals.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, The High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
On the next State of Mind.
I was in liver failure, and I was told I needed to quit drinking or I was going to die, and that was at 36. When he invited me to church, all the hair on my arms, my chest, my back, it all stood up. You're taught to love, you're taught to forgive, and there's a reason for that. It lets you be healthy and lets you move forward with a vision for your life that's not defined by what happened to you.
At Daniel's Men's Store, exceptional style begins with a curated selection and finishes with a flawless fit. When it's time to buy a suit, Daniel's is here to make sure yours is one of a kind. Discover tailored suits you'll only find in-store at Daniel's.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations.
Welcome back to the show, 2:45 on a Thursday afternoon. Amanda and I were talking about this earlier. This has just been one of those weeks that no one seems to know what day it is. I woke up this morning thinking that it was Wednesday. TJ said he thought it was Wednesday, and Amanda thought it was Wednesday. So is it actually Wednesday? I mean, no, trust me. It's getting closer. It's getting closer to the weekend. It can't come here soon enough. But I got a lot of stuff going on this weekend, too. Personal appearances, radio kind of stuff. So I won't rest on Sunday either because I'll be on our sister station here in Charleston, 98.7 The Mountain on Sunday. So I'll rest at some point. Text says, the Lake of America, LMAO. I can't believe there were 77 million people who looked at Donald Trump and said, yeah, we need 4 more years of him. That was a quote. Can we do voter suppression of rural white people? They're driving this country off a cliff. Why you got to bring race into it, man, or woman, or whoever you are? I don't know. Look, if Donald Trump were to run for president again, and maybe he will, I'm kidding. But if Donald Trump would run for president again, he wins hands down on the Republican ticket. I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. And especially he wins West Virginia. I know what the polling says, but make no mistake about it. We talked to Hoppy about it during the noon hour. The Republican Party in West Virginia is 100% strongly. I'm not talking about just elected officials. I'm talking about, I would say, just the ones I talked to, the majority of Republicans are still strongly behind Donald Trump, especially here in the mountain state of WVA. Just saying, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. If you think that is going to change anytime soon, here's what I want you to do. I want you to sit back and I want you to listen. When the campaign ads really start rolling out in, let's say, mid-September, in September, early October, when your radio airwaves, television airwaves, your social media feeds, and the billboards go up or whatever, when you notice how many Republicans are going to run, and look, I have been wrong many, many times before. I've been wrong on this show today, okay? Notice how many of them are still going to say, elect me to continue the work of President Donald Trump. Notice how many. Now, I'm not talking about outside West Virginia, because outside West Virginia, other states, you're not going to hear that. But here in West Virginia, especially, let's just say it's a House race. I'm just throwing that out, the House or Senate race. The Republican is going to say, I stand with Donald Trump. And I will also say that I think you're going to hear very, very few Democrats, especially more moderate Democrats. And believe me, there are actually still moderate Democrats. You don't hear from them a lot, but there are still moderate Democrats. How many of them are willing to go out and say, we've got to stop Donald Trump? And, they're not. They're just not going to say it because they had any hope whatsoever in West Virginia of getting any support from any Democrats whatsoever, or any Republicans whatsoever, or any independents. They're not going to say that. So it is, despite everything that's gone on, it is squarely the Republican Party in West Virginia is still squarely the party of Donald Trump. We had a technical issue with the podcast yesterday. Appreciate you pointing that out. It has been taken care of, I am told. Let me see here. A lot of text, too. Doing my best to get too many as I can. Text says, I am going to be voting for change, and for the middle class, I'm voting Democrat. All right. You do you. Text says, Kentucky has a Democratic governor that won 2 terms and one of the best governors in the country. Justice won as a Democrat and then stabbed them in the back. It is kind of interesting to think about. I think sometimes we do forget that Jim Justice ran as a Democrat. It seems like so many years ago, but I remember it well when he announced the change with Donald Trump, that he was switching parties. And you do forget that. He did run as a Democrat. Text says, it's not AOC that's calling the shots, and she hasn't been since elected. It's all the Republicans. They control all the government. Let's blame Trump. Okay, I have no idea what that means. I have no idea. Text says, South Korea building a $4 billion chip factory in the U.S. thanks to Biden and the CHIP Act. We want a Democrat, says a texter, as governor to straighten out the mess the Republicans have created on their own. Can't blame the Democrats. Text, look at Loudoun County, Virginia. Leesburg area gets approximately $3 billion annually from data centers. Schools are top-notch in the state. Sidewalks and roads are always well maintained, says a texter. I saw one comment on social media earlier that somebody had put up. Basically, when this big announcement, as TJ talked about, and we've had it on the news, it's available on the website as well, that people about this big announcement that was coming out of Mason County, yet another, $1 billion announcement. And somebody commented on social media, and that's certainly their right. I don't know this person. It was on a news site. Said something like, we don't care about any of this till we have clean water and clean water, I think they said. Well, I understand that, but, it's a major announcement. It's a major announcement when it comes to jobs in West Virginia, particularly for Mason County and the surrounding areas, because all of those people are not going to live in Mason County that come in for this project. Some are going to choose to live across the river in Ohio, but many are living in Putnam County, Cabell County. I can tell you they're living in Putnam County because I sit in the traffic every day and see a lot of out-of-state license plates. 1-800-765-TALK, text 304-TALK 304. Text, Trump's trade war with Canada is going to cost West Virginia jobs and their economy because Canada is West Virginia's number one trade partner for over $2.1 billion a year in trade. Okay. Yeah, I was talking about this earlier, about on the local show in Charleston this morning. I had a friend of the network, Stephen Allen Adams, on the show of Ogden Newspapers. Love having Steve on. And we had him on the local show today. And we were talking about the popularity of U.S. Senator Jim Justice. And I brought up a point, and then Stephen brought up a point, and then I think we both realized that we were both right. And we were talking about the popularity of Senator Justice. And my take was that why, when you ask the question, why do none of these financial issues, why do they never seem to stick? Why do people not seem to care? My take on it is because when you're talking about millions of dollars and the Greenbrier and things that the average person just doesn't relate to that. They don't. There are many people listening to this show right now that have never been to the Greenbrier and will never go to the Greenbrier. Okay. Just saying what it is. All right. Stephen then counters that one of the reasons that people love Jim Justice is because they can relate to him, because everybody's been behind on a bill. Everybody's been faced with a foreclosure or repossession or just, one paycheck away or all of the other things that you hear. And so his take is that's why it's because people do relate to him. And we both kind of came to the agreement. It's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both. Text, Trump has cost West Virginia more coal jobs than any other president since being president. West Virginia's closed 6 coal mines and over 2,000 jobs, says the texter. Starting to think Liam's dad is running Morrissey social media, says a texter. Dave, I agree about constantly lowering flags. I also believe emergency services shouldn't keep warning us about thunderstorm watches. Imminent damages of flooding that makes better sense. They lose their effectiveness, says the texter. Text says it doesn't have to do with Democrats or Republicans anymore. It just has to do with good and evil, says the texter. Well, appreciate the text, but then we can argue which one's good and which one's evil. It's all in the ears, eyes, and the brain of the beholder. 2:54, we'll close it out after this.
We'll be right back. This is Metro News Midday. Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
At Daniel's Men's Store, exceptional style begins with a curated selection and finishes with a flawless fit. When it's time to buy a suit, Daniel's is here to make sure yours is one of a kind. Discovered tailored suits you'll only find in-store at Daniel's.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
It's our 23rd anniversary, and to celebrate, we're having a huge anniversary sale all month long on all Toyota trucks and pre-owned vehicles. We've discounted over 100 pre-owned vehicles this month, most of which are local one-owner trades. Great deals on all our Toyota trucks, and with over 90 in stock, now is the time to get yours. From our family to yours, we want to thank you for all the support over 23 years. Dan Cava, Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
I think many people have a misconception that all that we do is infertility care, and that's not the case. Reproductive health matters whether or not you're trying to conceive. So we can be dealing with endometriosis, ovulation dysfunction, PCOS. You're getting linked up with all the specialties that you need to optimize your care. And being an advocate for your reproductive health is important. The most rewarding times that I have is when I'm empowering people to take control of their health.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
This week on the Metro News Television Game of the Week powered by GoMart, the Grafton Bearcats travel to Philip Barber for the Week 1 matchup. Join us Friday, August 28th at 7 p.m. for complete live coverage from George Breyer Field. Watch live on Metro News Television, YouTube, and Facebook. Bearcats versus Colts. Friday, August 28th at 7 p.m. The Metro News Television Game of the Week powered by GoMart.
Download Metro News Television on your iPhone or Android. Search Metro News Television in your app store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now.
Welcome back to the show. Quick reminder that tomorrow is Friday, which means we put another great eatery in our spotlight. Drop us an email midday at wvmetronews.com for our lunchbox segment. We'll do that around 1:06 coming up tomorrow afternoon, or you can text Dan, or you can reach out to either Amanda or myself on social media. Lunchbot coming up at 1:06. Ladies and gentlemen, look who's here. The man who has been named special referee in the upcoming Russian chain match between Senator, Justice, and Governor Morrissey. It is Dave Weekly.
I don't know, man.
Do you know?
I don't know about that one, bro.
Do you know the rules of a Russian chain match?
No.
Okay, so
No.
you are connected with a chain, okay, at the wrist.
Okay.
And the goal is and you win the match, not by pinfall, but when you drag your opponent to all four corners touching the top turnbuckle. Just thought you should know. Same rules as the bull rope match and also a strap match as well.
I didn't know that. You know, Sergeant Slaughter's birthday today.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know his
fun facts.
Do you know his first gimmick? He had blonde hair and he was a California surfer.
I'm sorry to say that I actually did know that.
Yes, indeed. What you got on the show today, Big
We're
guy?
talking about cash. Cash.
Johnny?
Straight cash, homie.
Okay.
I mean, how much cash do you use? When was the last time you paid cash for something? Because people are using less and less cash.
I'm going to be the one to screw it up for you, man.
Really?
99.9% of the time I pay with cash.
Only 12% pay for everything in cash.
I don't even have a debit card. So there's that.
Well.
I mean, I may have one.
That's a whole thing, isn't it?
I've never used it. I don't know. All right, hotline coming up immediately. Same Metro News stations. I'll see you tomorrow. Till then, have fun and love somebody.